Hello everyone, today's video is actually going to be a podcast from TAC5. TAC5, if you haven't heard, is this brand new content creator podcast filled with tactical shooter and milsim content, so I hope you guys do enjoy. Today we're going to be joined by Tom Havoc, Friendly Nikolai, and BlueTheRobot, so I'll leave links to all their stuff down below in the description so you can check it all out, as well as the TAC5 Discord. But in the background for this video, guys, we have some Squad 1 Life content, as well as some PUBG gameplay on Fallujah, so I hope you guys enjoy that. But I really look forward to doing more podcasts, and I think it's a medium and format that I really would enjoy doing long term. So let me know down in the comments what you think. As always, guys, before we get into the podcast, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more content. And just a reminder that if you're looking to pick up a copy of Squad, head over to Karmakut.com where your purchase supports me directly. But that's all I've got for you guys today. Thanks so much again to my channel members for supporting the channel, and now enjoy the show.
Right, everyone, welcome back to the Tactical Gaming Podcast. Today we're joined with a new guest. Last week we had Moydog. And today we have someone that is probably one of the faces of tactical gaming, at least in pretty much, I was going to say in Squad World, but really it's everywhere now. But yeah, with 400,000 subscribers, 25,000 followers on Twitch, once again a creative partner with Offworld, and as I said, a huge voice in the tactical gaming scene. Welcome, Karma, to the Tactical Gaming Podcast. How are you today?
Hello, I'm doing well. I'm doing great. It's going to be a great day, I think.
It's going to be awesome. It's going to be absolutely awesome. Now, I'm going to throw one right at you straight away, okay? Do you remember what your first ever video was on YouTube?
It's funny you say that.
Wow.
I was literally just scrolling through my oldest videos. Yeah, so I mean, if we want to talk about like the first video ever on my channel, that was actually years ago. I used to make Destiny 1 raid guides. But I've since hit all those. So like the oldest video on my channel right now is Arma 3 Wasteland footage, which is what got me into tactical shooters.
Yeah, I found that.
Are those
Are
those videos unlisted?
Yeah, they're unlisted.
Damn it.
Yeah, I went and found them. I scrolled all the way down to the bottom, found the Arma 3 Wasteland. I was like, oh, okay. It came from Arma. That's interesting. That's really interesting.
I think I remember me watching one of those one day just to see, like, because I like seeing the progress of like different creators, and I remember seeing just like the background music in those videos were just so like awesome, but it was just
it's so over the top.
YouTube.
I mean, the older I was looking through and I was thinking like, God, I can't believe I stuck with content like it's just one of those things where you just have to keep doing it, because I'm looking at all these videos and they're like all under like 3,000 views, and it's just I'm looking and looking. It's like a whole year, maybe 2 years of stuff like that, and then it just starts to catch, and it's just like sometimes I look back, I'm like, I don't know how I had the discipline or perseverance to continue going like this, because it's hard. It is hard.
Mm-hmm. You definitely need to believe what you're doing, and that is exactly what YouTube it is. Yep.
It's just consistency, really, isn't it? Just like you were consistently uploading squad videos. You didn't post-script them. You literally went everywhere, and like you built a huge following base, not only just on Twitch but in YouTube, and you've done amazing. Like, it's absolutely crazy. Yeah, going back through it, I'm thinking when I scrolled through Moyes, it was kind of quite easy for me because he didn't have that many videos. Like he didn't have a whole lot of videos on YouTube. With you, oh my word, it was like the same quality of videos. Like it was like a thumbnail was the same, and I was going, oh my god, how many videos has he actually uploaded onto YouTube when it comes to Squad and all this? And some of these most people probably have never seen before, as of recent. Especially with your new Tarkov following as well, that we're going to later. But yeah, how has your life changed when it comes to doing YouTube? Are you now full-time doing YouTube? Is this your job? Are you still studying? What's going on?
Yeah, so let's see. I started doing YouTube back when I was in college, and so like I was doing college and YouTube at the same time, and then I was doing it for fun. And then, you know, that's how I think I had the strength or discipline to keep uploading with such small views. Like, I didn't go into it thinking like, hey, this is going to be like a thing that I do. I just had like really fun moments that I wanted to share. But then all of a sudden, I don't remember when the turning point was, but it was somewhere within like my last or third year of college. It was like, this is taking off. I really want to do this. I think this could be something if I put all my time into it. And then it switched to full-time straight off there. So I've been doing full-time YouTuber content creation for like, let me think, 2, maybe 3-ish years. I think 3 is more accurate. So that's definitely like, I've been in the scene for a while now. Just recently breaking into Tarkov, like you said. But yeah, Squad was the game that kind of that I built my channel off of, just because there was almost no one else making content on it.
You grew up with that game.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it's crazy to see where like your older videos on the kind of the earliest versions of Squad, and now still to this day you play it. I think we had a conversation previously. You mentioned how you're kind of burnt out on Squad, and you've done literally everything you could possibly do with Squad at the moment. And that's probably, was that reason why you dipped into Tarkov? If we can quickly go there, was that a reason that you've done everything you could do with Squad, or maybe with this new update now, are you gonna go back into it? Like, what's going on there?
Yeah. So I think I mean, if you just go through it like from the oldest videos to now, and you look at how many, like you said, you look at how many Squad videos I made, it's like
like in the hundreds.
I'm pretty amazed. It's more over like 500. I think I have like 1,300 videos on the channel. So like that's like how much Squad I've played. I've played a ton of fucking Squad. So shifting to something like Tarkov was very refreshing. But the issue I have with Squad, and why sometimes it feels like not new, is because we very rarely get updates. So just like, boom, new update, come check this out. Because most of the time it's released via public play testing. So by the time it hits public servers, I've already played a ton of it. So the new, like when Fallujah came out, the V1 testing came out, I played a ton of that. But you know, you can only play so much Fallujah. Like there isn't anything really game changing there that I can really just play over and over again. Like the new faction's cool, but G3s were technically already in the game before. There's no real new vehicles. The MG3 is amazing, of course, but I think one of the most important things about a game is replayability, and for me, Squad, like I used to have that, and for most people, almost all people, it's still gonna have that. I'm not bashing Squad at all, but just because of the sheer amount that I've played the game, it kind of dwindles, and that kind of leads into like why I started Squad Ops, which is the One Life community, is because within that I can continue creating, you know, new content or new gameplay or new scenarios that haven't been played before in Squad. So that kind of extended the replayability for me.
Yeah, when did you start Squad Ops? So I had a funny feeling you would, this is really bad. I wasn't fully involved in Squad. I really only came into Squad nearly like a year ago now. So I wasn't really involved. I didn't know much about Squad when it first kind of where it started and everything. So what got you started into Squad Ops? Like, because I never knew that you actually, I had a funny feeling that you set that up, but I wasn't sure if you still run it. Like, what really got you there? Obviously, replayability, but is it something about the armor kind of side of things that you wanted this kind of One Life event, or having this kind of, it almost feels like you're doing like an arm operation, like that's how it kind of felt in the Squad, in Squad.
So going back, like I think we started Squad Ops maybe 4 years ago. Started Squad Ops 4 years ago, and it was heavily inspired by TAC5 and Dyslexy. So I've met Dyslexy. He's an awesome dude. He's you know, I've reached out to him for advice sometimes on community management and just, you know, ideas, but I've always liked TAC5 videos, and I thought it was always like an amazing community. But one of the things was just I'd played enough Arma 3 through, you know, Wasteland that it was like, I don't want to go back to that clunky first-person shooter kind of feel. And that's kind of why Squad picked up in popularity, right? Is because this easy plug-in play PvP tactical / milsim shooter. So I wanted to do that in Squad, just because the gunplay and the movement and everything just was so much more fluid in Squad. We don't have AI or scenario tools, which makes our job a little bit harder, but it was just a game that kind of flowed well with PvP, because I think TAC5, for the majority of their operations, they do PvE or co-op versus AI stuff.
Yeah, definitely. And do you think it changed a lot as well? You're no longer, like with Arma, of course, most of the time when you're doing operations, you're playing against AI. Do you think like the whole environment that you're able to bring so many players into one server against each other, do you think that added like an extra element of, this is really fun, this is really interesting, and really built up what you got now with Squad Ops? Was that a major part to playing it?
Yeah, I think there's benefits and there's pros and cons to, PvP and co-op versus AI. So the cool thing is like Squad Ops is one of the only PvP milsim slash, One Life communities. There's a couple of other communities out there that do host One Life events, but within, the entire milsim vertical, I don't think there's too much of that. A lot of it is mostly PvE and Arma. So the benefits to having PvP kind of gameplay in that realm of things is that you have a dynamic opponent that you're going up against. Right, because they're human beings, so it can really lead to like really crazy strategies and a lot more replayability because it's unpredictable to some extent. Not only what the other team is going to do, but how your guys or their guys will perform. Because humans make mistakes, they do weird things. The con to PvP is that it can get really competitive, and competitive is like, in most cases, the bane of immersion or tactical shooters, as far as how immersive things feel. Sandstorm does a really good job of kind of towing the competitive line while not breaking immersion. But one of the things I point to usually is that back when competitive squad was just starting out, one of the things that people will do, and what really turned me off to competitive squad, is people would just absolutely nuke their graphics. They get rid of the grass, get rid of the shadows, all this stuff in the name of competition, right? Because you want to get that edge. And I totally understand that. There's nothing wrong with, wanting to play a game competitively and wanting to get every edge when you do that. But I think when I look at what squad is and how I want to enjoy squad, or how I want my community to enjoy squad, I don't think that I want my community or the people that, purchase a game like squad to nuke their graphics or, do everything for the tiniest competitive edge. Because that's not really, the squad isn't really built for that.
No, I enjoy it when I'm fully immersed and the graphics are turned up and I feel like I'm in a city and there's
Yeah.
dust flying
Yeah.
around.
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
kind of relate to that, to be fair. When I started like the post-scriptum fight night, like it was literally just an idea to bring community and clans together. They can fight on a weekend. It's kind of organized. It's literally what CCFN was for squad, but in post-scriptum. And then it became this whole idea of, hey, you had people turning down their graphics. They were seeing through bushes. And with post-scriptum, especially when it came to tank gameplay, people were shooting across the map with tanks because they could see all the way through the other side, which is breaking. It kind of broke it, to be fair. Like, it really did break it. So I can kind of relate when it comes to what you said, with a lot of people trying to get this competitive edge. And for something that's fun and enjoyable, and you're really, like, enjoying the tactics and seeing how, for me at least, how different clans that speak different languages work together, it breaks it completely when you have a certain amount of individuals that are so competitive, which is nothing wrong, like you said, but they're so competitive to the fact that they literally destroy what their game looks like just to get that competitive advantage, to be able to see that through that bush. Or
Are you still
that
running?
tree
Are you
line.
still running those events, or are they gone?
They're not gone. The problem with post-scriptum community at the moment, like I wouldn't say people are bored of it, but the clans are like I don't know. I don't really know. I for at least it was never. The idea was it was never for me to be the hands-on with it all the time. It was for clans and communities to organize themselves, and they because obviously they have access to their servers, so they can set up the servers. It was kind of just for them to sort out. It was never for me to really babysit. I don't know if Karma can relate to that. I don't know how heavily involved you are still with squad ops, but it was never for me to babysit. It was more for the clans just to organize. And yeah, we had an event recently. We had loads of the French clans play for a weekend. But with everything that goes on with post-scriptum, like for me at least, post-scriptum is in a stage where everyone wants to do their own event. So there's events popping up every Saturday, and they're clashing, and people are doing different things, and there's no kind of central kind of event for a day, if that makes sense. Because on a Saturday they can either do the Operation Market Garden event, they can be doing they could be preparing for the squad league, not squad league. Oh my god, post-scriptum league now. They could be. There's so many possibilities, and that's really what's kind of breaking a few of the events. But it still runs. It still runs.
Yeah, I think the hardest part about community management or hosting events is that the hardest part of leading squad ops in the past like 4 years has just been the fact that these are people, these are humans that you have to deal with, and humans have their own wants, their own desires, and their own reason for doing certain things, and they have things. I mean, it very much comes down to almost being like a job, right? Which kind of burnt me out a little bit, just because I'm managing all these people, and people have these tempers, and it's just egos. It's just really, it gets really frustrating sometimes, for sure.
Especially when you're trying to get your own community still growing and your channel and
Yeah, like
yeah.
everyone just needs to chill out sometimes, and just and just do their own thing. Some people, for whatever reason, feel the need to, butt their head into other people's communities or to. I think one of the most annoying things that goes hand in hand with both content creation and with community growth is just like the amount of people who are inclined to just blatantly lie or make up things that have no factual basis. They increase the more people you add to a certain area, and it's not one of those things that I think as a content creator you're really prepared for, you really think about. Because when you're going about normal, I mean, maybe this happened in high school and people like talk shit in high school. I just never experienced that, so
but
I don't
that's
have
that's
much
that's like
experience
a
with
high
that.
school mentality, really.
Yeah,
Trying to one up people and stuff.
yeah. So I guess I've never had that. I just because I don't, I just never experienced that, and I didn't expect to experience that like as an adult. But yeah, that's something that you see a lot, not only in the gaming world, but just as like a content creator or people that has a lot, like 400,000 or like X amount of people follow me. Like there are going to be a couple bad eggs, and like it's very stressful trying to deal with these people because they've already come to this conclusion without having a logical or meaningful discussion with anyone. And so it's hard to like talk these people out of those mindsets, and it's incredibly frustrating.
It's set in their head. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Redditors of the world. There you go.
Yeah. I tend
Mm-hmm.
I tend to stay away from those people as much as
Yeah.
possible, for
Oh,
sure.
I stay away from Reddit. Reddit is a whole different kettle of fish nowadays. Like, you post something on Reddit and people don't like it. Oh my word! Like, do you know what? I was listening to a podcast recently, and it was I don't know if you guys are heavily involved in esports, but have you ever heard of Dextro? They're like a news company. They did a
No,
really cool podcast, and it was so interesting to hear because they were talking about clickbait and how YouTubers get their views and all that kind of thing, and how they get their impressions. And they were talking about Reddit, and they were saying how Redditors are like they say things that they would never say in real life. They're on a whole different
It's the
level.
internet. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, that's the whole internet.
They would literally like you wouldn't go into a restaurant and you got bad food, and you wouldn't go to turn around to the chef and go like, you're fucking shit, you're this, you're that, you don't know this, you don't know that.
How
Like, from
dare
the
you
street.
make this plate?
Exactly, how dare you offer this to me? Like, how dare you? Like, you wouldn't do that. Like, but on Reddit, this is like normal. This is regular life for most people. So yeah, it was kind of interesting podcast. But yeah, maybe I'll leave a link to anyone that's listening to this one. If you guys want to listen to it, I'll leave a link in the description. It was a good podcast to read about, especially if you're into content creation. When it comes to the art of clickbait and how to at least attract people to videos, it was really interesting. But yeah, how have you done that, Karma? At least for you, because you're so successful, nearly 400,000 subscribers. How did you? When did you kind of get the art of gameplay creation? Like, how did you do it? Like, where was it? Like, obviously you don't have to tell us all your secrets to this, but like, when did you find out like this is what people want to watch? This is what people
Your
want to
style,
experience.
too.
Yeah, what was it?
So I mean, this ties back to like the whole grind aspect of it. Is like you have to I personally believe that unless you are a big company and you have a whole bunch of money to put behind to pay people off the bat to like figure out certain things or to do certain work for the channel, you have to love what you're doing. You can't just you can't be a content creator without loving what you're doing, because number one, the amount of time it takes, right? It's just an incredible amount of time to put into something that might not get traction, right? Right. So in my case, it took me maybe 3 years from start to go, from start to 100K. That's 3 years of my life that got me to that point. And after that, like, it gets a little faster for sure, but you can't just get complacent. So one of the things is, for my content, I've tried to always do things that I enjoy playing, because I think that's what's interesting to watch. And I've had this, I don't know if you call it a talent or just a feel for knowing like how to put myself in these games to get good, experiences or good content. So whether that be organizing people as a squad leader to get some really cool stuff going, or being able to be in the right place at the right time. A lot of it, and I think that's why I really like these kind of games, is you have so much control over what you want to do in a game. If you want to go, over here with the tank and go ahead and do it, like I've seen Nikolai do this too, where he, you'll have an idea in mind of like what you think is fun, and you'll go do it, and you'll go put your vehicle over there or have fun and do that and whatever. And that's like part of it is like there's something inside of you that says, hey, I want to do this. Let's go do it. And that's one of the great things about tactical shooters is that you have the freedom to do that. You're not told necessarily by the game that you can't. Of course, people get mad at you. You do stupid stuff like build a fob like 500 meters, like 600 meters off from anything.
What do you miss those moments when you weren't YouTuber and you were playing the games normally? Because every time when you join the squad server, you have the mindset for recording. You can't play normally.
Yeah, so what that is definitely like a bigger topic we could get into. It's like when you start making your hobby your job, right? And this has been talked about with like the other YouTubers and other verticals who cover different games. They talk about like, oh yeah, the second I start doing it, it become a job. It does. This 100% it becomes a job. It's hard to relax when I'm playing anything FPS related. So the important thing there is just balance, right? If I were to go on, like I very rarely in my free time play first person shooters these days. Very, very rarely. So
it's only when you have the recording button on.
Yeah, whenever I want to record or whenever I want to stream, that's when I play these games. Otherwise, I'm doing, things in real life. I'm watching shows. I'm, doing my other hobbies, or I'm playing other games. Like, I know you wanted to get into it later, but like one of the games I've been playing and really enjoying recently is like League of Legends, like Teamfight Tactics, right? I can kind of just chill. I don't even have to worry about like trying to turn this into a recording thing because it's so far out of like my realm for my channel that it's just a video game that I just play.
Yeah, but as a content creator, you need something like that in order to kind of, I would say, keep sane. And I'm still super new into this, but even seeing the way you guys operate, it's the fact that I can understand from that point as well now that you need. I mean, so it also kind of goes back to the whole like job aspect where the old saying, if you love your job, you won't work a single day in your life. That's really how it is. But you really have to love it, spending hours at night just working on one thumbnail.
Yeah. I mean, definitely. Like, I still love what I do. I think I'm incredibly blessed to be able to do this, but it's just that in my free time, like I do want to be able to do something else just because it's an important balance so that when I come back to the game, I don't feel as burnt out. But there was definitely a period in time, like in the first maybe 2 years, maybe even 3 years of content creation for this game that I was like, I could play it every day. I could play it every day, all day. But it gets to a point to where like I started to realize that people don't watch. I mean, most people watch because you're having a good time, you're having a good experience. There are a couple streamers who make it their kind of thing to be like the best in the game. But you'll notice that a lot of the people who are like, it's not like if you're very good at the game, you're immediately going to get viewership because there's a lot of good people at a lot of good games that no one wants to watch them because it's just not fun to watch. So I learned that a little bit, like maybe three years in, and that's when it started to change. Is like, I don't need to be the best at these games for people to watch me. And some people get really butthurt because of that, because they think they're really good at the game and they want viewers. But the reason why people watch is because it's funny, it's interesting, it's immersive, right? The three
there's
words
a personality behind it.
Yeah. The thing that draws people to my channel is the immersive tactical teamwork. Like that's the 3 words that I always try to go by whenever I make a video, right? It's not competitive, drop 50,000 kills or whatever, right? It's just make it immersive, make it tactical, and make it require teamwork. Like that's like the most important things that is unique about my channel, right? Because you have these things and sometimes the closest thing to this kind of stuff is like Arma 3 content, but it's just it's important that you find your spot in the online universe, just like your own thing that makes you unique.
Yeah, definitely. Going back a little tiny bit as well. How did your family react to saying, I'm gonna put this like full effort into doing this? Like, obviously, did you ever get into that point where you're like 1, maybe 2 years in, you've been making all these videos all this time, and you think to yourself, like, if I would have spent the same amount of time working in a regular job, I would have made more money. Is this worth still doing? Did you think that, or did you just believe in yourself and think like, do you know what? I've got a vision, I've got a goal. This is what I want to do. I'm just gonna go do it. Like, what was that? Because obviously you finished college.
Sure.
What was the thinking behind it?
Awesome. Okay, yeah. I mean, this is like a this is okay. So let's see here. So when I started going back in college, so I started doing it, right? But I was still in college and I was just doing it on the side. So family was like kind of okay with that, right? Because I'm still in college. Then it came to the point where I was like, hit that 3-4 year wall, and I was like, okay, you know what? I never enjoyed schooling. I went to schooling because I thought it was like what I was supposed to do, but I was never passionate about going to college. I never wanted to go to college. I just went because in my family, that's like what we're supposed to do. It's like you finish high school, you go to college, and then you get a job, right? That's, I mean, I think for a lot of people, that's the general progression of things. Yeah. And it's just gaming back then. I know I'm not that old, but it was still something that was not seen as something you could really get a job doing.
Yeah, making money. A YouTuber? What?
Yeah, the industry was still like relatively young. It was growing at this point, but for parents, right, to understand that, like, they're not really gonna grasp that. They're not in that scene enough to know how much it's growing or what it could be. They just hear, you know, from the news or whatever. Yeah, gaming industry is kind of growing. People are doing this and that, but they don't really, you know, it's not real yet. So going back then, like, making that switch was pretty hard. I got a lot of pushback from the family, but I was incredibly fortunate. So this is when I took the job as New World Interactive's community manager for a small stint. And so that helped me, you know, come up with supplemental income as I was doing my content creation, just because content creation back then wasn't really paying too much, just because it was during the whole that apocalypse thing. My channel wasn't that big. So I did need something to kind of supplement my streams, which was video game work or community work for New World. But slowly over time, finally got my family to come around to it, and I've been fortunate to have a relatively supportive family. I didn't absolutely get blacklisted, but I didn't absolutely get like complete, you know, support from my family. It was like somewhere in between, and I had to just very carefully navigate that situation.
It's a risk.
Yeah. But as soon as they started seeing that, like, you know, I was taking care of myself, I knew what I wanted to do, I knew what I was doing, and I was doing it. You know, it was kind of hard for my family to you know, reject that, because they could see that I was getting results, and they could see that I knew what I was doing. I wasn't just going, okay, I want to play video games for the rest of my life and just playing video games. There was a mindset and somewhat of a plan behind what I was doing. But I like that. It's incredibly risky jumping into content creation. But my whole thought process was, just because of how risky it was, I would rather take that risk now, when I don't have a kid, when I don't have, you know, a mortgage to pay and XYZ responsibilities. When I'm a dumb kid, I'm gonna take this chance because in my mind, I would really rather to try and fail and just put that dream to rest than wake up 20 years, 30 years down the line thinking like, oh God, you know, what if I could have done it? What if I could have made it? Because I think that would eat me up more than, you know, setting myself a year, maybe 2 back in the beginning, just because it was eating at me.
Tell me, what is the best thing of making content for YouTube? What is the best thing? Best feature?
That's a really now that you say that, it's like a really interesting question, right? Because like, I think views are cool. Like, obviously, like people like it when other people watch their content. Yeah. It's nice. I didn't get into it for the money because I wasn't making any money like in the beginning. Like, that was never a goal. And I think when people go into it thinking like, oh, I'm gonna make tons of money, they do it for a couple months and they're like, it's not going anywhere. And it just takes time unless you know you hit like that gold vein. But I think the most rewarding thing from my content creation has been community building. So Squad Ops in this case it's been a place where I've made a ton of friends, had a lot of fun, played games other than Squad, and just generally hung out with people, and it was like really fun, really cool. That was really rewarding to me is community building. So now like that Squad Ops is like on its feet, I can finally shift over and focus more on the channel, which is why I initially took a step back from Squad Ops, is to focus on the channel itself. But I think a lot of the joy I get from doing this is interacting with certain people, and just providing a good experience for viewers or the people that I'm playing with. I think that's incredibly rewarding.
No, that's awesome. And quickly moving on then. We're gonna move on. I'm gonna switch things up completely, but that was really interesting to learn about. Now, this is kind of a good one for everyone here. Why do at least for you, maybe come as well? Why do you enjoy tactical shooters, and what is the least tactical game you have played and had a blast at? Go on, that'd be interesting.
So, so the reason why I like tactical shooters is I used to play a ton of competitive games, a ton of I've had my fill of like a lot of different games. So I used to play a ton of WoW. I used to play a ton of StarCraft 2. Played a lot of League of Legends. Played a lot of COD. Played a lot of Halo. So I've played a good amount of games from varying different genres, and I think really young, or not really young, but like when you're in high school, like when you're a teenager, like being competitive and being the best, that's like a dream that a lot of kids have when they play video games with their friends. Like, I want to be better than my friends, right?
Talking smack to them. Yeah.
Yeah, which is
Xbox Live parties.
Yeah. So I totally understand where I got that draw for like competitive gaming when I was growing up, but I think something switched where I was like, I just want to play multiplayer games on like a really immersive, fun scale. And I can't get that. I can't really get that in any other game but tactical shooters, where like my adrenaline's going. I mean, horror games, but there's no real multiplayer horror games, and it's just like it's a single player experience for the most part. I think it's the mixture of like PvP and the adrenaline and all the craziness that happens in multiplayer tactical shooters, just because it's one of the most immersive games or style of games that can be played, I think. And I think that's why it's so popular. So that's why I push back pretty substantially against certain things that break immersion, whether it be, players ruining their graphics or doing XYZ to get an edge, because I think that's what makes these games unique. And if we take that away, then it's just going to become COD or Battlefield. So that's definitely what I think is the most fun about tactical shooters.
Definitely. And what is the least tactical game that you played and you've had, well, at least had a blast at or enjoyed? So, at least for you.
So like I said, recently I've been playing like a ton of League of Legends Teamfight Tactics. I'm a huge nerd. I mean, you have to be kind of a huge nerd to like really get into milsims. You can't just like not. You have to be either like active duty, a veteran, or a huge nerd to get into these games. But yeah, so one of my favorite things to do when I'm not playing video games is play board games. So TFT is like a mixture of like a board game and a video game, so I really enjoy that. I'm really recently been getting into like this 40K kick. So like I've got my whole army together, gonna start painting it and everything. So
we need to talk about later the Armada that you want to get into later as well.
Yeah, Star Wars Armada, Star Wars Legion.
Don't get me started on Star Wars. We'd be here another 6 hours.
Yeah, Star Wars was so that was my childhood growing up. Watching Star Wars, that was literally my childhood. So
playing
good.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, but nah, just when is it Anakin when he's like his arm gets cut off in the lava and like he's
Don't start. You're starting something.
Yeah, it's so that. Do you know what that Anakin? What does he say? I can't remember. He said you were the chosen one. Like
Yeah.
That was brilliant. That was.
Okay, I'm stop.
I used to play the Battlefront, Star Wars Battlefront.
That's that dice game, isn't it?
Was it PlayStation 2?
Yeah.
Well,
But
the
now,
old one.
like, imagine now, like,
And
back
Xbox.
then I was
OG
actually
Xbox,
dreaming
yeah.
about having online teamwork-based Star Wars
Well,
like
that
experience, and that is actually now available on Squad.
don't
The
I
Star
love it
Wars
so
mod.
much. Galactic Contention is so fun.
Yeah,
so
it's so
good.
I
good.
wish there was more people playing that. That's the biggest killer for me. I go in there and I see it's like 20 people on a server, and it's only like there's 2 servers, but there's only one that ever really gets played, and that's such a fun experience. But I
Wait.
think the one thing I love, what were you gonna say? What?
Wasn't that the video that you made? The squad mod
Yeah.
that you talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw it. That looks
And I-
so cool. And someone else
used,
made a video,
like-
didn't they? I can't.
And I got permission to use some Star Wars music that was made by a fan, that he makes like cinematic epic remixes of it and stuff like that. So
That's
but
pretty insane.
even then it was so close that I still got copyright claimed on one of them, because
God,
for like
wow.
not even for the whole song, for like 3 seconds of a part that just sounded almost exactly the same, but then I got it disputed and it worked. Surprisingly it worked, especially
Damn.
with Disney and stuff like that. But
Damn. It looks
I think
good
the
though.
one thing I love it so much, but the one thing I love about tactical shoot, the thing is I'm kind of new-ish to the tactical scene. I mean, I didn't really heavily get into it until like I joined the army back in 2013, and then around like 2013 2014 I started getting heavy into like Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, and then I even started and got into the milsim community on Battlefield. I don't know if you guys ever knew about that. Like people would like rent servers and make it, quote unquote hardcore. And
Actually, I seen that. Yeah, on Battlefield 3. Yep.
Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, and like I used to run a couple milsims, and then a lot of the people I would play with, they would know that I was military, so they're like, oh, okay, he kind of knows what he's talking about, even though I was. Do you guys know the term POG?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, personnel. Yeah, for Nico, Tom, I don't know if you know. It's like a term in the. I don't know if it's like your guys' army, but like United States Army personnel other than grunt. So if you're not infantry, you're not like real army, quote unquote. But I got heavy into the Battlefield.
No idea what you're talking about.
Personnel other than grunt. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just Google, I guess. But I got heavy into that scene, and then that led me into Squad when version 12 came out, and that's when I first got into Squad, and then I pretty much got hooked from there. I didn't even have like a really strong PC at the time. I had just a Windows gaming laptop, or not even a gaming, just a regular laptop, and then I just again got hooked from there, and then using tactics that I would go out to the field, how to clear rooms, and how to set up security and checkpoints and stuff like that, and I would bring it back into Squad, into these milsim events and stuff like that, and it was just that was actually a really fun experience. So
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Like you guys have come from like the big tactical shooters kind of end. I came from like armor-free life. Like that. Don't say me here.
The role play.
Yeah, like I started with like roleplay servers in armor. Got heavily like into that. When it comes to immersion, that is kind of cool. It was kind of cool when I first got into it. I was like only 16. I was like, wow, okay, this is kind of cool. Like,
dude, I used to play Arma 2 Tactics 10 Live, and I was running with the drugs, like drug runs over the border.
So good.
It was amazing.
It
And
was
then
so
when
fun.
you it was like a long distance on Tactics 10, but it's a large map on Arma 2, and you drive from the Tactics 10. I don't remember the town name, but anyway, you drive on the like other side of the map, and then you start collecting the weed or cocaine or whatever what you're taking, and then the police force is coming with the like 3 or 4 helicopters landing on the field and arresting you. It was amazing.
It's so good. Like the immersion when it came to those kind of games. And I played a couple of servers as well, like some armor-free like Takistan servers as well. And like the immersion in them, because everyone there has got their role, they've got what they want to do, they know what they want to do, and they're kind of how realistic some of these servers can really be. You can see helicopters like a full army set up in terms of ranking and everything. They have to do all their basic training. It's kind of like what we have at the moment with armor-free milsims, but brought into like a live server. And like you were saying, Nikolai, when you're doing drug runs and you got like 2 like Chinooks on either side or something crazy, like guns pointing at you, snipers on the hill pointing at you, It's like it's nuts. It's on a whole nother level. It was so much fun.
Yep.
I
But it
do
was
find
good.
it a little cringy sometimes, though. Not gonna lie. I
Oh,
think
it was. Oh, it was arresting people on Armor Free
specifically,
Life.
well, it's
Oh,
not even that. When you said the whole like ranking structure and stuff like that, I've definitely gotten into some moments where some people, I guess, maybe take it a little bit too seriously. Like I know Milsim is military simulator, but I think like I remember being in a Milsim one day, and this was back in like Battlefield, and they were trying to get people to do PT, which is
yeah.
physical training,
It's
and they
ridiculous.
would have them run around the map and then quote unquote do push-ups by just standing up and going prone.
God, that's
Yeah.
ridiculous. Like
So
I,
that's sometimes I get a little pushed away when I see stuff like that where people are like kind of taking it a little bit too seriously. It's like if that's the case, go join the army. But that's a whole
yeah,
different subject.
I had like a really weird experience recently. I decided, you know what, I'm gonna go to Armor Free. Like, bear in mind I got like a 3,000 hours in Armor Free. That could be rookie numbers to a lot of people listening to this. But like, I decided, you know what, I'm gonna get back to Armor Free. I'm gonna get into a Milsim group. I'm gonna go for a casual group this time. And I kind of picked the wrong group. They said to me, "Oh, we're casual. Yeah, we're good. We're good." They said, "When do you have a couple of hours free?" And I went, "What for?" And they're like, "Oh, we got to do your basic training." And I went, "What?" And they were like, "Yeah, we got to do your basic training before you can go on operation." I was like, and I thought to myself, do you know what? If they want to check that I'm good at armor, I was like, I'll do it. I was sat there for 2.5 hours while they taught me how to shoot a gun in armor. And I mean, like, not just shoot a gun,
like step by step.
Mate, I was being taught how to throw grenades. Like, bear in mind, I have 3,000 hours playing armor, and that was like heavily involved in Milsims, life, everything. Like and that's kind of leads me on to my next subject as well. The accessibility of a lot of these tactical shooters like squad now compared to armor. Like, to get onto an armor free operation nowadays with a group and to get the same experience that you can get in squad, like with one life events like Karma does, it takes hours. It takes hours of work of training and doing, like, if you want to be a sniper, you can't just grab a sniper kit. No. You have to go and do your training. You have to go and do this training. You have to do like a written exam. Like, it's crazy levels. Like, whereas like squad, the accessibility now of just jumping into game, and okay, granted, with one life events you have to do some sort of like basic training, or at least have to go through some kind of like stuff, but
Like
it's
how
nowhere
is
near the
that for
level.
you, Karma? How would someone, if they're new to squad, but they really want to get not new, but like they got a couple hours and they played a few games, but they want to try your squad ups event? Is it how accessible is it for them?
So that's a funny note. I mean, in squad ops, we've had people who literally think that squad ops is the game and not squad, just from the videos. Like, they'll say, "How do I play? Like, how do I buy squad ops?" Like,
Yeah, I've seen
it's
that.
very funny.
It's funny.
Yeah, but we've had people who literally buy squad then hop straight into squad ops. We try to keep our things pretty accessible and pretty easy to go. The only thing that you have to do in order to play is sign up on the website and then attend a 45 to 1 hour 30-minute class. That's it. And that's just to make sure that everyone that's coming in understands basic terminology and understands how to play. Because a lot of the times we're getting brand new players, not only to squad, but to Milsim in general. So it's really difficult to make sure that we can ensure a solid experience for a one life game, right? Because you have one life. It's very easy to fuck things up in a one life and have it affect the whole team, right? Someone accidentally team kills a friendly techie filled with a squad. Well, like these are huge things that need to be covered for everyone. And then not only to mention that, like the basics, but like we have squad ops specific SOPs and stuff that people need to understand, just so that things can function. But then we do offer optional supplemental things, but we make sure that we keep leadership locked to, or we try to keep leadership locked to people who know what they're doing, because it's a role with responsibility. So there's always going to be some great things that happen when you make things accessible, right? It's easy to grow the community. It's easy to get a lot of people in fast. But there is something to be said for the loss of quality, because people aren't going through so much training or a stricter filtering process. So I think like it can go either way. There's some wiggle room in either way, but definitely, unless some people really like that experience where they have to take class after class and cert after cert after cert in order to do some things. And there's a reason why communities do that, is because it does work in making sure that the people who are doing these things are competent and won't fuck things up. Like last thing you want is like a JTAC dropping something like on top of your guys when you're in an Arma op and stuff like that. Like but as far as like general like grunt infantry, like I try to make sure that that experience is like the easiest thing to jump into and the easiest, you know, transition, because that itself will serve as a big barrier for entry, and that can be a good or bad thing, like I said.
I think squad is
definitely.
also is an easier game to get into. I mean, like to get into an Arma 3 operation, you pretty much need a degree in something, just to even like run it.
Yeah,
Um,
you do.
so
you do.
that
It's
I could
ridiculous.
see Arma 3 operations. You would need a little bit more time, a little bit more training than an average squad op.
Yeah, I'm not just that, but I'm afraid like you don't. When it comes to squad ops, it's player versus player. With Arma 3, you're setting up AI, you're setting up your buildings, you're thinking about everything. Like even when I used to Zeus on Arma 3, like it wasn't a boring job, but I think anyone here that's Zeus before or done that in Arma 3, you have accidentally dropped a full squad of Russian spec ops and they've just absolutely blasted to pieces the guys that you're meant to kind of be challenging on the map. And like there's been loads of issues, but like I don't know, there's a degree
I love map editing and level editing. I took some game design classes back in college before I switched to a different degree, but yeah, like even Zeus seems very intimidating.
it's complex.
as
It's
well.
complexity.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of these shooters like Squad, Postscriptum, Hell to Loose, a lot of these new tactical shooters that are coming out now, they are appealing to the Arma group. Even though I would never say the Arma group will never leave Arma. Like Arma in a game in itself is so amazing. At least for me, it's where it started for me. And then getting into Milsims, it's still an amazing game. Although the graphics and how the performance wise is not great for me, compared to like the likes of Squad, it's still a really good game. Like, but the accessibility now of a lot of these newer tactical shooters, like it's drawing a lot of the community. Like why wait for hours like making a I don't know, an Arma 3 operation when you could use the SDK with Squad or something like that and then create your own map and then do your own operation kind of thing. Granted, the complexity is more there, but the customizability is on a whole nother level. You can bring your own objects in, your own assets, anything you wanted to do, you can do it. Which I kind of think is kind of appealing.
I mean, that's the reason why I think a lot of people like Squad, is that it's Arma without the fuss. Arma is like, you need a community, you need to know how the game works, you need to know mods for you to function in Arma. But in Squad, you can literally buy the game, boot it up, join a server, and start playing. So the barriers to entry are almost completely removed as far as general vanilla play between the two games. And there's no, like, yeah, I mean, I guess you could say King of the Hill in Arma is like vanilla gameplay, but there's no vanilla Arma gameplay, right? There's no like standard way to play, which isn't it's not a bad thing.
That is exactly what Arma 4 needs. They need to build PvP, like vanilla PvP tactical shooter, like game mode, where like kind of like Squad. That would be perfect. Like there is a mod for Arma which is kind of like Squad. There's like VoIP and there's like squad system. You join and you're able to like do the exact same things that you. It was like. Well, it's kind of like.
Did you say VR? What?
Actually, I
PR.
think the framework is same that BlueTheRobot 42 was developing, but something happened. I don't know what happened, but they are using the same framework. I think it's. I don't remember the mod name, but if you ask from BlueTheRobot 42, he will know. But it was the exact same mod.
You mean
Kind of like
between
it was kind of like Arma 3 Project Reality, but it was called actually it was called Frontline. It was called mod.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, but yeah, the problem there is it's a mod, right? It needs to be baked into the game so that when you launch the game, you can literally just see it. I think that's definitely like gonna be like that'd be huge for Arma, I think. But going back
that's their niche. That's their niche. I should say. You know, that's who they want to go for.
And they need to keep their their sandbox tools. I mean, that's one of the things about Arma is like it's incredibly hard as a solo player to get into, but there's no better game that when you are ready to make that step, or if you find a community that is in that zone, there's no better game for that community. That is the best sandbox experience that you can provide.
Yep.
It's just the worst beginner experience.
Yeah, 100%. Going backwards a little bit, because someone mentioned VR here. I know Karma, you tried Onward? I've seen a video of you testing
Onward's
Onward.
good.
Yeah. How do you kind of think the transition now will be to VR? Do you think that it's a niche now when it comes to the tactical gaming community and it always stay a niche? Or will you think that most games will have VR support going forward? Do you think that's going to be like a addition to most, like, I don't know, to most games or not?
So when we talk about VR going mainstream, I think there's still a couple things that are preventing that. Number one is the cost, which is going down. Like the Quest 2 is now what, $300?
Yeah.
So cost is going down. But the second thing that like is really prohibitive is like the amount of space that you need to have a good experience in some games. Like a lot of people don't have that much space to do VR to where it can be mainstream, right? Like for a computer or console, you just put up the TV, you set the console up, and you don't really need space to walk around or anything.
You can have a little corner in the room.
Yeah. For as far as VR going mainstream for like shooting games, or not shooting games, so like driving games or flying games, I feel like it's getting to the point there. But as far as like other games where you're up and walking around, I'm not sure if there's, unless like they come out with a really cheap treadmill that you can move in 360 degrees. Like it's gonna be really, that's one of the biggest problems that can't just be solved on the manufacturer side, because that's something that you have to provide on your own, is like the space to do it. So I think I would like to see VR get to the point where it's like mainstream. It's growing. I think it's growing, and the technology is getting better, but you gotta solve that space concern before it, really grows, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Do you think, now this is just like a random off the top thought, what about head tracking when it comes to a lot of these? At least take away the VR movement and give it the VR kind of, you put the goggles on, you can see around yourself. Do you think they could implement that into tactical shooters? Because at least for me, that'd be awesome. Imagine still using keyboard and mouse, but yet you're moving your head and you can see your head moving game. Do you think that'd be cool?
I mean, I know that's been a thing for like Track IR in Arma for a very long time. So I'm sure it can be done. I just don't know. Let me see. If I were to put on the reason why I wouldn't do that is just because like the resolution on my screen is much better than in VR. And when you're doing infantry stuff, I don't know if being able to move your head around is that important, because the advantage of doing that when you're driving or flying is that your hands are busy doing something else. And usually when you're doing infantry stuff is like, you don't really need to be focusing on what you're doing with your keyboard and mouse when you look around, just because it's not that I for whatever reason it's just not that overwhelming.
Your weapon is pointed the way you want to shoot anyways normally.
I think the only thing where Track IR is shining is like when you are peeking around the corner, you are actually able to lean your head to the right and
peek.
Yeah, slowly going to the right. Yeah. That is actually really effective. But other than that, like I've been playing Arma and with Track IR, and usually I only use Track IR for flying. But when it comes to infantry gameplay, I can't keep my head still. So it's kind of like I'm kind of like turning it off with on off, like pressing a button to turn it off. And like I barely use it as an infantry gameplay, because it's like.
So I think
I'm using my head a lot. Like I'm shaking my head all around, and whatever. If you move your head in real life, it will affect your gameplay, and you can't see shit. It's not stable gameplay, you know.
So I think the reason why, like, this is probably why, like, I just realized is like in games where or instances where your character is moving independent of where you're looking. like you need VR, right? So when you're flying or driving and your vehicle is going in a certain direction, you need to be able to look in a different direction and not crash or end up, you know, flying in a weird way or driving in a weird way, right? Which is why you use VR, so you can look behind you while you're going forward and you don't accidentally 180 your vehicle. So, but when you're playing as an infantryman, you can look in any direction, and no matter what speed you're going, it's usually going to be okay. You're not gonna crash your character. It's very easy to adjust the speed at which you're going in a certain direction because you're just walking or running. But that's the reason. It's like it's a lot more responsive as an infantryman as far as where you're looking, where you're going, versus like in a vehicle where you have to turn the freaking vehicle around if you just accidentally look in a certain direction. But it's just I play mainly infantry centric games. I don't really need VR in these games. I think it would be cool if we could eventually get to the level where it's like it's super hyper immersive. The graphics are there. I have the room to do it. Onward is like a test in that direction. Onward is really solid. It really highlights a lot of cool things that can be done in VR for tactical shooters. It really is game changing when you play first-person shooters in VR because the level of immersion is insane. It reaches a whole different area, but it's just got some things about it that don't make it completely consumer ready or for like the mass market yet. Like the graphics are still the animations are still like there's certain things that don't exactly. There's certain things that just aren't completely done yet, but where it's going, I like. Maybe we'll get there one day, but I don't think we get there.
If I drop a magazine and I try to pick it up and I can't in the middle of a firefight, and I'm just like grabbing over and over and over again.
Oh, it was so funny watching you, Karma, trying to put the magazines in. You were literally like, you're stumbling. You're like, wait, I don't know what I'm doing now. Like trying to pick it up, like
video,
drop it back in, like.
Well, because like there was that video that Drewski made a while ago. I forgot when, but he made it was like the difference between like shooting mechanics in real life versus VR. How it's it's second nature to put in a magazine and press the bolt the forward release button, but in VR it just doesn't work. Even aiming down sights feels awkward when you're in the game, you see in your eyes that you're holding an M4, but you don't feel that in real life. And I know they have certain things like that you can actually like hook up your controllers to give it a more realistic feel, but
yeah, definitely.
I don't think we'll ever pass that.
Can you guys imagine that Onward sent me the VR headset like a month ago, and when I got the VR headset, it didn't work. Like
they sent you a broken headset?
No, it's working, but my computer doesn't like it. Like I plug it in and it's not fucking working. Like the sensors, what is it called? Like something like that. It's not detecting the VR headset at all. So I sent them I sent them a message that, dude, I'm not able to publish a video of Onward like for the end of the deadline, and they were like, okay, we can increase the time for 2 months. And I was actually ready to refund, send the VR headset back, and they said to me that okay, 2 months, and now I'm actually trying to get it work, and it's still not working on my computer. So I'm probably gonna send it back.
Yeah,
that is my
weird.
VR experience.
So what, did they sponsor a video, I'm assuming, and then they just sent you they're like, hey, I'll send you a headset. You just make a video,
the same sponsored deal that the Karma you done.
Yeah, they did a very big Onward did a very big campaign push recently.
Where was mine? Where was my sponsor? No, I'm joking. I'm still so small. I'm like a little pea in the tactical gaming community. But
yeah, you need to grow.
Yeah,
you need to hire.
Yeah, but I just do news. I'm like the news round. Like, hey, this is new. Like, but nah, it's all good. Right, rounding this up though. Quick roundup. Now this is kind of an individual one. Quickly, what is the recipe for a great tactical shooter? The strap recipe. Like, we start with Blue. Gone.
Ooh. Let's see. I think you need basic communication in there. So separating it from squad to commander and stuff like that. Definitely need a good system for that. Huh. Recipe. Damn. Okay. I would probably even introduce the whole, not the, where were we talking about, the whole like one kill, one hit, death animation and stuff like that. I would probably keep that in if you get hit in the head or something like that. I like the way Hell Let Loose is working right now when it comes to that. I'm really hooked on that game, by the way. I keep playing it for some reason. So if you get hit in the head, you're gone, or you get blown up by a tank shell. There you go. You're gone. You can't just have a medic patch you up or something like that. And
I actually would hope that squad will get the dead back.
Mhm.
It's so weird.
Yeah, because
especially on Fallujah, when you have those guys on the windows and everything, and you shoot with the tank on that window, it's so stupid that they're able to revive that guy that they
the medic survives or something.
That
Yeah.
guy who is on the window that have a hat kit, example, he get revived and he's able to take another shot. Then he gets shot again, and he gets revived and he's able to take another shot. Like, it's so stupid. I feel like the squad need dead.
Yeah, definitely 100%. Karma gone. And I bet you Karma's gonna say immersive, tactical, and teamwork. Like,
Yeah,
I feel like
those are
that's
really
I feel like that's like basic. Like, you need immersion in general.
We're actually working on a new public mod for Squad that fixes a lot of things that I'm unhappy with in Squad. So hopefully that comes out within a month or two, and then
give me more details.
So
yeah.
So we're working on creating a mod that makes general vanilla gameplay much more dynamic, while bringing back, a lot of things that I think would benefit gameplay. So back a long time ago, Squad used to not have magnified optics, and I really do think that magnified optics are really
what that
bad.
means, I have
So
no
like
idea.
four times optics, like your ACOGs and stuff like that.
Okay.
I really think that ACOGs and the gunplay in Squad is just it's not fun. The meta for Squad a lot of the times in public games is someone will find a ridge to go lone wolf on top of. They'll sit on the ridge, they'll pop as many shots as they can, and then they'll get spotted by someone with a 4 times ACOG and get slapped. I think one of the issues in Squad right now is that there's way too many tools or kits in Squad that don't require that much teamwork. Mines, you just go lone wolf, you put mines down on the roads, and you can just guarantee, vehicle kill. It's just, I think mines are terrible for gameplay. I think magnified optics with how the gunplay is in Squad right now is terrible for gameplay, because I feel like a lot of times it's just snap, player's dead. And the reason why we like playing these games is for the firefights. So we're going to try to focus on bringing firefights back together. Medic system rework to making sure that people stay in the fight longer, but also making it so that deaths are punishing, so that you don't want to just hit that give up button. That's one of the things in Hell Let Loose that is not necessarily bad, but that's a change for Hell Let Loose, is they managed to get this really big feel of war, because your respawns are low. The game is extremely punishing, but it does end up giving a meat grinder kind of feel sometimes.
Yeah, 100%. Hell Let Loose does that really well.
Yeah, reworking the spawn system. We're doing a lot of things in the mod to make it feel like a one life event, but a vanilla or easy plug and play experience. So
is this the reason why you don't have Squad Ops modded public server available right now?
Yeah, we're reworking the mod right now because
I'm a huge fan of Squad Ops servers and Squad Ops modded servers. I play there like whenever I play Squad, I play Squad Ops public server. I fucking love it, dude. It's amazing.
Yeah,
and I like the
really
modded server. There's
too,
like a CAS, helicopters, and everything.
Yeah,
so
there's
cool.
some really cool stuff. I mean, I think the not the issue, but one of the things was the old hardcore mod was turning into more of a showcase than more of like a gameplay mod, because we had some really cool, awesome stuff in our public mod previously, but not a lot of things that made it hardcore or really made it didn't really give the One Life feel. It was just a really flashy mod with a lot of custom features, which we do want to have in the next mod. But it's just, I think tactical shooters, to get back to the question, the tactical shooters need to make sure that you're giving a very immersive experience. You're requiring teamwork for a lot of things that need to be done. And it's not just, someone hops on an ATGM and can immediately kill a 3-man crew tank or just pop things by himself. There's just a lot of stuff that I think needs to get tweaked in order to get the whole platoon to work together. I think Postscriptum has done the best out of all the games in the tactical shooter market to really hit like teamwork and communication and organization. Postscriptum, I think, is the best example out of all the games on the market, just because they've done such a good job of baking that directly into the game and supporting it. Like, even down, like, one of my favorite things is like even down to like how you join a squad. It's already organized by infantry, armor, or logistics, and that already does leaps and bounds to organize the entire platoon.
I kind of agree with you in a way, but I kind of wish that like squad players played Postscriptum more, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like Postscriptum, it has a huge issue. Maybe you could have experienced this very early on in squad, at least. It has a very big issue with new players, like huge, like an issue with new players. Like, when I join a squad in Postscriptum, unless I'm playing a certain server, it's like, I don't know, at least for me, it's quiet. It is so quiet, and you only maybe have luckily a squad lead that wants to talk, or you have that lovely squad lead that makes a squad then leaves. So I can agree with you when it comes to the organization of squads and stuff like that. I still don't think the teamwork and kind of the where the game is at the moment with their player base is there yet. I still don't think that's there yet, at least for me. But hey, it will come. It will come. I feel like the natural building of squad and how squad is growing will massively impact Postscriptum, and same with How Let Loose. Like, I think I spoke about it in one of the older podcasts. Like, yeah, everyone's like, oh, which one's better, How Let Loose or Postscriptum? For me, neither. Like, they're both good games, but they both help each other. Like, I originally went into Postscriptum, and now I play a lot of How Let Loose, because for me, Postscriptum is like, when I play it, I need to play it with the right people, and I also want to play it to win. Whereas with How Let Loose, I play that game because it's immersive, the graphics look good. It kind of feels like Battlefield mixed with Postscriptum. Like, it's
a little bit more casual.
Yeah, it's casual.
As casual as a hardcore shooter can get. I feel like.
Exactly. And it kind of like, for me, and going back to the question, it strikes the balance. Like, it literally, like, it's tactical, but then just chill. Like, whereas like Postscriptum is very complicated to be successful. That makes sense. Maybe the same in squad. I haven't played squad in a while though. But it's like everything has to be good. Like, for example, some of the maps like Arnhem, like pushing the bridge, you have to have elite organization as the Germans to be able to push across that bridge. Like, you can't get away with, like in Hell Let Loose, pushing into the Foy into the town. You can get away with squads not working together, because the way the terrain works, it kind of works to your advantage. You can crawl, you can be covered by snow. Yeah, it kind of works pretty well.
I think like, so we're talking about like team-based oriented games, but you look at the success of Tarkov and how big that blew up. And I feel like there's a great recipe.
That's a whole nother kettle of fish.
Shooter,
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, just to wrap this podcast up, 100%. What am I talking about? God, it's been a long day. It's been a really long day today. But yeah, to wrap this podcast up, videos this week. Anyone making any cool videos?
Are we gonna end it? Are we gonna end it now? We didn't even talk about Tarkov.
We can talk about Tarkov if you want to. Like, you guys have been talking for an hour. Like,
I'm telling you, it was kind of. I told you in the beginning it was gonna keep going for a little bit, but
this podcast is gonna be part 1 and 2. So let's go to Tarkov and many other topics.
You want to carry on? You want to carry on?
Hell yeah, dude.
Right,
Oh my god, I heard it.
Yeah.
was like,
Oh,
okay,
God.
fine, let's do it.
The missus is sat behind me. I promised her dinner in like half an hour, and she's probably
Okay,
thinking,
well,
God.
then you know what?
Nah,
I'll,
I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking. We're gonna get into Tarkov. We're doing it. We can't have
We're doing
Karma
it,
here
okay.
and
Before
not
that,
talk
I
about
would
Tarkov.
have one question for Karma. I watched one of your videos and you were mentioning that you're gonna start podcast by yourself. Tell me about that.
So yeah, that's always been something I wanted to do. Even like back when squad was my main thing, I wanted to get a squad only podcast going, and ops has their own podcast going. I did that, and that was fun. I think that was like a month ago. No, not a month ago, maybe a couple weeks ago. But doing a podcast has always been something I wanted to do with Big Fry or whoever. It's just been it's just a lot of work. It's a lot of work to organize people, get people together. And I'm very bad at keeping online appointments, whether I forget or it's just hard to get online creators together consistently.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just difficult. Time
It
zones
is.
and stuff. Yeah.
We're running on like 3 different like you guys obviously American time. Nikolai, Finland is it? I
Yeah.
always get Finland. I'm UK. You're 2 hours ahead of me. You guys
And
like
Karma's
5 hours
West
behind
Coast,
me.
yeah.
It's crazy. Karma, you can just come join us on the Tactical 5 podcast if you wanted to.
Maybe.
We can have a chat after this, and
Yeah, maybe.
you never know. We could change that to Tactical 6.
Breaking news.
Like, it wouldn't be too bad for me to change a number.
That would be cool. That would be cool.
Like, and come on, like it'd be good. That'd be good laugh. Like, but yeah, I'm sure Control is probably like kicking himself right now, probably a little bit earlier because we were talking about.
Really wanted to be here.
He wanted to be here, but not just that. We talked about all the track IR stuff. He would be literally loving it. He loves that stuff, like with DCS World and all those kind of games. He loves it. But moving on, let's talk about Tarkov because Karma, that was like a huge point in your channel. Like you went from playing squad and it was consistent squad, and then Tarkov, and you just hit it, and then live stream videos, the Sherpa series that I was involved in, but yet I absolutely messed up so many videos with you about
Getting started in Tarkov series.
Yeah, like explain it. Like where did it come from? Was it because you saw like this is where I want to push my audience, or was it because like you mentioned previously, hey, I'm bored of squad, let me do something I enjoy and hopefully my viewers can see that?
Yeah, I mean, so I've been playing Tarkov for a while. Like I've been playing Tarkov for a lot longer than people think. People think like just because I started like gaining traction in Tarkov, like I must have just started playing Tarkov. They're like, oh, who's this? He thinks he knows how to play Tarkov? He just started playing Tarkov this way. I was like, no, I've been playing Tarkov for like 2-3 years. But it's always been a game that I enjoyed. It's just when you're starting a channel, it's very hard to break out that first game that you play. That first game that you play or that you're known for on the channel, you get a lot of pushback when you start to break out of that kind of that niche.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you got a lot of flack. You okay, Tom?
I'm drinking a water.
Oh, went down the wrong pipe.
So
I saw you got a lot of flack though when you first moved over to Tarkov, and then when you would make another squad video, like, oh yes, finally squad again. It's like, well, I mean,
I gotta evolve. Like I can't play squad on the channel forever. Like it's there's a weird sense of viewer entitlement when it comes to YouTube or content creation. It's really weird. It's a really weird relationship. It's crazy.
I
Yeah,
died.
no.
Oh god, I just nearly died choking on water. I'm back. Oh god. So yeah, YouTuber entitlement, viewer entitlement. So yeah, how did your viewer base kind of react to this? Like you moved to Tarkov. Did a lot of the squad viewer base follow you because of the hype around Tarkov, or did you bring a whole new audience?
It's hard for me to tell. I think I got a lot of new viewers. I don't think there's too much overlap, honestly. I think there's some, definitely. But I think a lot of the people who are on my channel either watch my channel for Tarkov or watch my channel for Squad, and then like a small portion watches both. Which is fine, but I would like to find a way to kind of merge the two. Just because it's crazy. You think that both games would share similar audiences, but I think what happened was that Tarkov exploded in popularity, and you got a whole bunch of these like puppy boys that only care. They don't really know what Milsim or Tactical games are too much. They know Tarkov because popular streamers play Tarkov, and so they don't really know what the other games are in the vertical.
Yeah, definitely, 100%, 100%.
I don't feel like Tarkov was like a door that opened everyone's eyes to the tactical gaming world as well.
I think it did, but like its mechanics were so. I even think for way Tarkov, its mechanics in gunplay are so good, like they're so refined and perfected that it almost puts tactical games to shame in a way. Is that my opinion?
It gives them a different sense of like people expect every other tactical game to be as customizable as Tarkov.
It's not really the customization. It was more just like Tarkov just has this kind of like feeling like it feels good. It just feels good. It sounds good. It feels good.
It actually feels that you're holding a gun in your hand.
Yeah. The noises, the bushes, like walking through them, like everything is refined. And obviously, yeah, it's a survival shooter, and you're listening to the smallest things and like the smallest bush kind of thing. But in a way, that's kind of cool. Like that at least for me, it's kind of cool. If you added that into a tactical shooter that was on a grand scale, that's kind of cool. Which
I would want to ask Karma, what features that you like in EFT, and what features you do not like?
So I like everything about Tarkov except for, I'd have to say, the meds and some of the quests. Otherwise, I think and insurance I think could use a tweak. I think flea market could use a tweak. There's a lot I would do to Tarkov now that I think about it. But in general, in general, compared to like the other games, it does a pretty damn good job. Like there's very few glaring problems in Tarkov compared to like Squad or whatever. Like Squad, and they have much bigger problems in those games, I think, and it's why I kind of played Tarkov a lot more than I played Squad. But one of the things that I love about Tarkov is just like it is hands down the most immersive shooter out of any shooters out right now.
Yeah.
Arma can kind of get close to it because of the scale of things. Like Arma's immersive in the sense that you have, oh my god, we've combined operations. We have this, we have to call in this air that hits this target, and then the vehicle drivers. But like so it's immersive in that sense.
The gun movement. I mean the gun. I don't know what I'm saying.
The gunplay.
Gunplay goes pew pew instead of bam bam kind of.
Yeah. The gunplay is like different level from Arma or Squad or any other game. Yep.
Yeah, so the gunplay in Tarkov is hands down the most immersive experience. The only thing that I don't like about Tarkov are things that take you out of that immersion. So the stims, the just all the wacky stuff sometimes that you can do, or seeing players jump off of 3-story buildings, like seeing that kind of stuff and going like, oh yeah, I forgot you do this ridiculous thing. I don't like those aspects.
I have a couple things that I personally hate in Tarkov. I've been playing it. I've been on the end game. I've been on the I've been experienced pretty much not everything, but like
a good chunk.
Yeah, I've been playing it, and I have a lot of money, and I have the full gear and thermal and everything. I've been kind of experienced everything about the game. But there's a couple things that I hate about it. It's bunny hopping. When you reach the level of something, you have stamina. You're able to run really long distance, and then you are able to jump and jump and jump. Yeah. Kind of like bunny hopping. And the second thing is side movement. When you are coming around the corner, you are able to do it really quickly. And basically, it's like a Tarkov PvP meta.
Oh, yeah, that's an inertia problem where it's like you can stop and go super quickly. That's not comparable to real life.
Yeah.
It's true. But do you think like adding skill-based matchmaking could solve that?
God.
This is a big topic, but like
I don't like skill-based matchmaking.
No. You think it kind of ruin the game?
That's the whole point of Tarkov. You're new to the game, and you are gonna get shit on for the first couple games, but that's how you learn.
It's not really the first thing.
And also the third thing that I really would want to have in Tarkov is open world. I would really want to see that they would combine all those maps together.
Right?
Well, they've been talking about that from the beginning. Before the release, they were
Well, then that's the whole. Then there's an issue with the whole like it getting called a beta when I feel like it's not really a beta, but it's that's just a whole different, you know.
It kind of grew
topic
so
right there.
quickly. That's the thing with Tarkov. It grew its audience because it hit mainstream. It did what Fortnite and kind of the... Bear in mind, okay, this is a weird comparison. Like, Fortnite grew so quickly, but they managed it really well. Whereas Tarkov, for a while, I swear they were struggling with servers. Like, they had issues with servers for a while. They had those outages. Like, they grew hackers, loads of things, like loads of problems. That's when they added in that the flea market at level 10 as well, didn't they? Like, they grew so quickly. I don't think they had the kind of infrastructure there for their growth. If that makes sense. But still, they retained a lot.
Yeah, it's very rare
audience.
that a company is prepared for that amount of popularity. So they definitely had a couple technical issues due to the growth. But as far as gameplay changes, like, I just think that they're in this weird spot where they have a really immersive tactical game, but they have some really weird RPG slash, you know, arcadey mechanics that they're kind of tied to. So I feel like they kind of, maybe they don't, but I was going to say maybe they need to just pick a direction and commit. But they do seem to be floating okay in this, like, mid-ground. So they might be doing all right, and I just might want the game to shift a little bit differently. But there might be a strategy in behind keeping it relatively centered. Or no, it's not even centered. It's more tactical shooter than arcade shooter. But in this balance that it currently has, because it does feel good. There's just a couple things that I would like to see, but it's not necessarily like, if Tarkov doesn't do this, I think I'm not going to play the game.
Yeah, definitely. Do you know what I'd love to see as well? I'd love to see, like, the medical system in a game like Squad or Postscriptum. I'd love to see that, like, if your thorax gets shot kind of thing, you're going to choke to death kind of system, but you won't die immediately, but you will die at some point. That'd be so cool and so realistic. I feel like adding that...
Would that kind of thing work in Squad? What do you think?
It would. For me, at least, it would. I don't know. Karma, what do you think?
Yeah.
I think you could make the medical system... I definitely think that you need to make the medical system a little bit more engaging, or have some skill based to the medical system. Because if you don't have that challenge or that interaction, it's just not fun. It's why you don't see a lot of people
do you
play
think
medics.
that there could be like a morphine that you need to put it on your wounded guy, and then bandage and then healing?
I would like to see a very small amount of depth to the medical system for sure. I think that it would be good for the game to have a little bit of depth to the medical system rather than just right click, left click, you're good. Just because
I do like the whole
sense
dragging as well too now.
Yeah, it makes sense from a gameplay perspective, but it's not fun, right? Playing a medic is some people think it's fun. Some people think it's fun, definitely. Yeah. But it's not an enjoyable like actual thing, like procedure when you're doing it in game. It's not entertaining to do. Like the right click, left click is just bleh.
Yeah, even the medics and stuff.
Like if you're looking Armor 3, I'm not sure what is the mod called. Is it? I don't know, but anyway.
It's called
tell me.
Oh god, I know what you're talking about. Advanced medical. Is it?
Yeah, something like that. You need to heal every single part of the.
Yeah, it's so so
maybe
annoying,
that
though.
is too much
so
for
annoying,
Squad,
yeah.
but something like that would be so cool.
For me at least, like I think they could add in morphine and epinephrine, and
yeah,
give
something
you,
like that. Yep.
Give you a surgical kit and a bandaging kit. So 4 items that you need. For example, if the player is still alive and he's standing but he's hurt, you give him morphine because it will numb the pain, and then you can bandage him. If the player is down, then you give him epinephrine to get his heart rate up like you would in armor, and then it revives him. Then you can bandage him, giving you kind of that complexity to it. Because at least for now, it's like, oh, I bandage him, kind of, and then I grab up my little suitcase and then just throw it towards him, kind of thing. Like it kind of seems a little bit like the animations at least seem like so, like non thought about, if that makes sense. Like it's so basic. Like
instead of just using the force to heal him.
But
Exactly.
would that slow down the Squad gameplay?
It would, but squad gameplay is a tactical shooter. Like you kind of need to be thinking about these things. Like when as a squad lead, you wouldn't want to rush your whole squad and get massacred. And you kind of think about this, don't you? Like I don't know.
The whole point of a tactical game, though.
But then I don't know. It's the way squad is. Like I don't know. These are all just thoughts of me, at least. What do you think, Karma? Would you be happy if like tomorrow they turned around and said, hey, you have 4 new items in your squad inventory for a medic, and Like,
So
this is what we got.
I think it's very interesting. We just have to make sure that we hit the right balance, right? Because I don't think throwing like something like the Arma mod medical system directly in the squad is going to work. Like, I think it needs to be a little engaging, but not overwhelming. So I don't have like a straight idea of what that looks like right now, like off the top of my head. But I know there is a way that we can achieve this goal without overwhelming players and making medic gameplay fun, without adding too much work. So I'll think about it. I don't have like an answer right now, but I definitely think that the medical system needs some kind of rework.
Yeah, definitely.
I
So,
would really hope that we would able to carry players around, not
Oh,
just
yeah.
drag, but that would be cool. I think.
The only
don't
thing
know.
is that like there's very little incentive to do so. So one of the things that, and this goes back to like playing things somewhat competitively and when the game starts to break, right? One of the reasons why players don't wait for medics is because it's fast to get back into the front lines, right? You see this in Hell Let Loose. A player dies, respawn time's 20 seconds, they come back in, they don't wait for medic, right? And that's one and that's one problem is spawn times affect that. And the counter to that is to increase spawn times, right? You increase spawn times, you disincentivize people giving up. The issue with doing that is you're achieving one goal. You achieve the goal of, yes, players don't want to give up because they want to wait for medic. But another thing that you do when you do that is you begin to say to the player, all right, well, when you're dead for 60 seconds, you're just going to stare at a screen, which is not fun. So it's a weird problem to solve because you need to make sure that players feel like their deaths matter, but don't feel like they're wasting time in just waiting for a medic or for someone to revive. Now, Tarkov does this really well in the sense that lives matter in Tarkov because if you die, you lose stuff. That's very hard to translate into games like Squad. And the deaths are punishing in that kind of sense, in that value of like, not necessarily that when you die, you have to wait 15 minutes until your next raid, but just like there's a sense of loss there. So I'm not sure how you get that into games like Squad. I don't know if you can, but I don't know if increasing spawn times is a good solution because then you just end up making the game not fun. And I think, I don't know what you do there, but there's got to be some kind of balance or mixture of tweaks there that can achieve this goal without making people sit in the spawn time for 60 seconds. That's one of the reasons why I got burnt out of Squad is just 'cause, like, when you die, it's just a pain to just sit there for 60 seconds. And then if you sit there and you think you're getting a medic and then the medic doesn't actually come to you, well, guess what? That 60-second timer just resetting. It's just weird. It's just really weird how all of that works. You miss the rally, now you get away another 60 seconds, or you die and it's just too much time just looking at nothing. I don't like that. So I think one of the solutions is maybe if you die, you don't sit at a death screen. This is something that's going in the hardcore mod. If you die, you don't necessarily are punished by sitting at the death screen and just looking at something for 60 seconds, but you have to walk back there. I think walking back is a much better solution than sitting there for 60 seconds and respawning, because you're actually doing something in that sense. Like that movement back to contact, that will serve as your respawn timer. But you're playing the game. You get to play the game. You get to go there, and it might be a little annoying, but it's engaging at least.
yeah, definitely. I think to solve a lot as well with a lot of the deaths as well. I know we have to wrap up quite quickly in a second anyway, because Blue has to go. But imagine if, for example, even in post-scriptum, if you were like using the Panzer Strike, okay, and you would shoot a tank and you got shot beforehand, you lose the Panzer Strike. So your role as an AT player is lost because you lose a certain amount of, say for example, a team has X many Panzer Strikes in their inventory, you lose one. So kind of resource management in a way. So by being silly or stupid, you kind of like lose stuff for your team. Like I get it can probably be complex, but then people will value their lives more, and then we'll wait for medics, and we'll kind of like a medic role will be important in getting these people back up. Like I think it's really essential anyway. But yeah, that for me would be quite cool. But yeah, nonetheless, anyway, we got to wrap up pretty quickly because I know Blue has to go and I have to go because I have to go make dinner. But yeah, Karma, it's been absolutely awesome having you on the podcast today, and I'm sure all of us here could probably talk for hours and hours about Tarkov, Squad, all these games that we're very passionate about. And no, it's been,
We'll bring you back for sure.
yeah, Karma. I've said it already. I can change that number. That 5 can change to a 6. Like I'm just
TAC5+1.
TAC5 plus 1.
Can I ask one question before we end this?
Go on, Nico. Go on.
No, just kidding.
It's not allowed. Overruled.
How much money you'd make from YouTube?
I'll just say Corona's been very good to me.
Come.
Okay.
How many Lamborghinis do you have in your shed?
I don't have any Lamborghini.
Oh.
Like seriously, tell me, like some number. Tell me some number, please.
I'll tell you that from before Corona to now, my income has quadrupled.
Jesus
What
Christ.
that mean? What that mean?
I mean,
Okay.
it's increased by 4 times.
Okay, come
Oh
on.
wow!
Okay,
Yeah.
how many?
What's the reason for that?
I have no idea.
Home, I think. You
I
know?
think
Everyone's
YouTube's
got
playing
time.
more ads. YouTube's playing more ads per videos. That's
Because I have the
definitely-
same thing. Because I've been thinking about the same thing. I've been watching my revenue. It's going up. Like
Yeah,
I never been
I'm-
a, like I mean 5 times of
yeah.
what I've been earning. Yep.
I'm pretty sure that YouTube is just adding more ads per videos.
Yeah.
All right, guys, flexing. I made $20 this month. All right, I'm proud of myself. All right.
Not even there to get there yet. Not even qualified. It's fine. One day.
Good. One
One
mate,
day.
soon. You're getting
I
there.
was
You're
trying.
getting there.
I was trying to get the clickbait for this podcast and failed.
How much money Karma could pay?
Actually, we're gonna use that. We're gonna use that. How much karma you're gonna make from YouTube?
Yeah, come on. How
They
many?
gotta They
if
gotta
you were,
listen all the way to the end.
how many rich tea biscuits can you buy? Like with
How
the
many
amount of
what?
money you make. Do you know what rich tea biscuits are?
I have
No,
idea
we're
what that
American.
is.
Oh wow. Okay. How many tacos could you buy with the money you make?
Dude, tacos go for like $2 a dollar. You get some good $2 tacos here. A lot.
Oh, you're on the West Coast too. That's the good stuff.
Okay,
Anyway.
that's pretty good. That's pretty good. But yeah, nonetheless, Karma, tell everyone. I'm sure, to be fair, everyone that listens to this is probably knows who you are. But nonetheless, if someone's new here and they've stumbled upon the podcast, tell them where they can find you. I know you live stream on Twitch and YouTube now. I saw you recently on Twitch as well.
Mhm.
But yeah, let them know where you can find you.
Yeah, just youtube.com/Karmakut. That's where I do all my stuff mainly.
Yeah, awesome. Absolutely awesome. Anyway, yeah, make sure to go check out Karmakut. I'm sure everyone here probably subbed to him already. Anyone want to round it off with anything? Like, are we good?
I think we're good. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
we're good.
I think we're good. Anyway, right. Thank you very much for listening to the Tactical Vibe podcast. If you haven't already, make sure to come join us on Discord. We've got a little friendly community going on. And get your suggestions in. It's a way to tell us what you want in the podcast. Let us know what you want in our next podcast. And we'll be sure to check it out. Thank you very much to C Nipper and Seb Sin with your questions this week. It's been absolutely awesome. And hopefully you enjoyed the podcast. As always, make sure to leave us a review. Check us out on Twitter for updates. And yeah, thank you very much for listening. And we hope that you have a great week ahead. Yeah, it'll be Monday. Yeah, it will. Right, anyway, enjoy yourselves. And wow.
Later, guys.
Bye-bye.
See ya.